Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a holiday makeup look. I was actually so inspired by something that I came across on Instagram not too long ago. So one of my favorite makeup artists to follow is Danielle. Her Instagram handle is Danielle Jai, M-U-A. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I will have it spelled and linked down below. But she posted this tutorial right here a while back of this gorgeous green smoky eye, and I just can't even get over it. It is so beautiful. She didn't give a full product breakdown, but she did say what eyeshadow palette she was using. So I'm going to use the same eyeshadow palette and then just basically take inspo for the rest of the look. So that's what we're going to be doing. I felt like a green look is kind of a fresh take on a classic holiday look. I didn't really want to do something that involves a lipstick just because, you know, a lot of us are wearing face masks still. So I wanted it to be something where you could feel like you were celebrating, but it wouldn't be obstructed by a mask. So I wanted to keep the eyes the focus. By the way, my face looks a little splotchy right now and I have quite a few red spots, and that's because I recently had a facial and I had extractions. My face for some reason just hangs on to the redness from extractions for a while, so just know that that's what happened. It definitely looks worse than what it is, but good thing we have a solid foundation that we're going to use today. So we're going to just start with the eyes first. I'm going to prep the eyes with my NARS Tinted Smudge Proof eyeshadow base. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that onto the eyelids. Now this one is in the color medium. I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. Obviously I already did my brows off camera and I used my trusty Benefit brow pencil. So I'm just going to make sure the primer is blended out to the edges of the brow. I'm going to be starting off with the Raw Beauty Kristi and ColourPop eyeliner in the shade Spare Time. I feel like this color matched the eyeliner that she used pretty perfectly. So I'm just going to apply it against the lash line, and then I'm going to take a smudging brush and just start to kind of blend this out a little bit to create our starting shape. Again, I'm just taking inspo from that tutorial on Instagram, so even though I might not be doing exactly what she did, I definitely am so inspired by just the overall tones and honestly how wearable she made it seem to wear something green and gold. Same thing on this eye. All right, now that we have a little bit of a shape started, I'm going to dip into the eyeshadow palette, which fell on the floor, I forgot. But this is the eyeshadow palette that she used. It's the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows palette, and it's number 10. Here's what it looks like. Obviously, you could use whatever green shadows you own, but I was just so inspired by this look that I want to literally use the same palette. So I'm going to start by taking the lightest green shimmer shade in the palette. Now this is called Need Receipts. And I'm just going to start to kind of layer this onto the eyelid right on top of the eyeshadow primer that we have. So since we kind of created a little bit of a shape with that eyeliner, I'm kind of filling in the empty space with this shade using a flat brush just like she did and kind of pressing it onto the lids until I get the intensity that I want. Same thing over on this eye. Next, I'm going to take the shade right underneath it. And I'm actually going to just layer this right on top. I kind of want it to be a little more Christmassy feeling and not so bright. So I'm just going to mix the two essentially and deepen up the lid color using this shimmer shade. Next, I'm going to take the darkest green shimmer shade called Fat Pockets. And I'm going to kind of create a little bit of an eyeliner on this outer third here. Just buffing this into the lash line, and then once there's a little less on the brush, I'm kind of blending that into the outer portion of the crease as well. And then to me, it looks like she took the brown shade, which is this one right here, the matte color called Rubber Bands, and I'm just going to take that in the inner portion like it looks like she did right here. And then I'm also kind of taking the rest of it and buffing out the edges as my transition shade as well. Same thing on this eye. And then I do know she took this shade right here. This is called Flash Money, and she applied this in the inner corner of the eye. I'm only going to apply it on the top portion of the inner corner for now because I still need to do the lower lash line, but I'm just going to apply that on the inner corner. I'm going back in with this deeper shimmer shade in the center, and I'm just going to reapply this on the lid. I want a little bit more of this tone on the eyelid. I wonder if this is the color that she actually used. It looked like it would have been this one in the pan, but after I applied it, I almost feel like it would have been this one just based off of how it looks once it's applied. It's a little bit more muted, which I really like. I'm actually taking that yellow gold shade and kind of bringing it up into that inner portion of the lash line a little further, just to kind of elongate the look. I'm taking the brush we used with the brown transition shade, just making sure the edges are blended. Then I'm going to apply a top lash mascara. I'm going to be using my L'Oreal Lash Paradise for this. I want pretty voluminous lashes, so I'm going to go ahead and apply this to just the top lashes for now. I'm just going to gently clean up any fallout. Honestly, there wasn't too much at all. I'm just going to make sure there's no green under the eyes that could potentially mix with my concealer. All right, we're going to move on to complexion. I wanted to use the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. It has been a while since I've used this and I absolutely love this stuff. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit. A little goes a very, very long way with this. I wanted to keep my skin nice and hydrated, especially after recently having a facial. So I'm just massaging this into the skin. If you guys have never tried this, it has the most amazing texture. I love this cream for underneath makeup. Somehow it really does keep that dewy skin effect, but it never feels heavy. It keeps my makeup feeling and looking really balanced. I don't really know how it does that, but it's just the most luxurious texture and it works so beautifully underneath makeup. For foundation, I wanted to use something that's a little more full coverage to help with my pigmentation right now, but I didn't want to use anything that was going to clog my pores or be too harsh for my skin. So I chose this one right here. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Performance Wear Liquid Foundation. This is a very, very long wearing foundation, but it has really nice ingredients in it. So I just know this one's not gonna break me out. I have the shade Light Natural 09, and I'm just gonna take this on a fluffy-ish brush and just start to buff this into the skin right over top of that moisturizer we just applied. I'm just going to get a nice base layer on with the brush, and then as always I'm going to go ahead and smooth things out with my sponge. Alright, so I'm just going to pick up what's left on the back of my hand with my beauty sponge and go over everything with this just to make sure there's no brush marks and that everything looks nice and seamless. Alright, next I'm going to take the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Concealer. I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper shade just to try to cover up some of these blemishes. I feel like that shade is a little too deep for me, but this one's a little too light. So I'm just going to mix them and then press them down into the blemish with a brush first. And then I'm just going to press over the blemishes with my sponge. Alright, next I'm going to take my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. It honestly looked like she used this underneath the eyes, so I have no idea if she did or not, but it looked like she used some sort of peach corrector. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this underneath the eyes to brighten things up, and then I'm going to press that in with my sponge. Next I'm going to go in with that lighter shade of the Makeup Forever Concealer. Where did I put it? I don't know how I lose things. Here it is. I literally lose things that are right in front of me all the time. But I'm just going to put a little bit of this under the eyes to brighten, and I'm going to do a little in the center of the face as well, taking that Real Techniques concealer brush and using it to just blend things out a little first. And then same thing, just going back over everything with my sponge one more time to make sure everything is locked into place. Okay, I'm gonna go in with a little powder. I'm gonna be using the Ciate Coconut Powder, and I'm just going to set the under eye, and I'm gonna leave the rest for now because I wanna finish up the lower lash line before we move on to anything else. So I'm actually gonna take this shade right here again on a more dense brush, and this is called Direct Deposit. I'm gonna use this on the lower lash line. And I'm going from inner corner all the way to outer corner, connecting to the existing shadows on that outer edge. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that shade above, and I'm going to just go right on top of the entire lower lash line with this. Then I'm going to take an angled brush and dip into the deep green shade, which is called Fat Pockets. And I'm just going to take this on the very, very outer edge and connect it to the same tone on the edge of the top lid. And then I'm of course going to take the yellow shade in the palette, the yellow gold, and apply that to the inner corner on that lower lash line. Okay, after watching it again, I almost feel like she may have used a bit of that light green shimmer shade in the inner corner, so I'm just gonna layer that on top of the yellowy shade, just so it's not so yellowy. I want it to really blend into the greens around it as well. I'm just taking my powder brush and sweeping away any unwanted fallout. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply that same Lash Paradise mascara to the lower lashes. Okay, now I'm actually going to take a bit more of that coconut powder, and I'm going to use this to set the rest of the face. And you guys know that after using powder, I usually like to go in with a sponge just to make sure that everything looks meshed together and that it is meshed together, and it also gets rid of any of that powdery finish after using powders. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some bronzer. So I'm going to use one of my very favorite bronzers. This is the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade 01. I wanted to use this because I feel like it's pretty foolproof. I always love how this looks on me. I feel like the tone is so perfect. So I'm just going to layer this up on the sides of the cheeks just to warm up the complexion. Okay, after I've kind of applied bronzer everywhere I want it, I'm just going to take my powder brush and make sure that the edges are nice and blended everywhere that I applied the bronzer so there's not any harsh lines. So it looked like she had some sort of like a rosy mauve toned blush. I found this one in my collection. I felt like using it. This is the Buxom Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush, and this is in the shade Dolly. I feel like it's going to be perfect. At least I hope it will be. I'm just going to take this on a dual fiber brush, tap off the excess, and then just apply this to the cheeks. I kind of forgot how intense these blushes are, so I'm just taking my sponge and going over it to kind of tone down the color a little bit. Okay, for highlighter, I wanted to use something that's going to be really glossy on the skin. So I'm wanting to use my ColourPop Super Shock highlighter in the shade Lunch Money. I'm going to take this on the other side of my sponge and then just lightly start to build this up on the high points of the cheeks, kind of in a C shape. Same thing on this side. Also going to take a bit of that and just go right down the nose to highlight there. And then I'm going to put a little on the Cupid's bow. You can also put some above the brows if you want to look really glowy. But I love this highlighter and I felt like it just fits the overall holiday vibe. I wanted really healthy looking skin to go with this, so I feel like that's perfect. All right, moving on to lips, I'm going to take my ColourPop lip liner. This one is in the shade Beeper. I'm just going to line the lips with this. I wanted to fill it in with something a little bit more beige, so I'm going to take this Velvet Luxe liquid lipstick from ColourPop in the shade Ingenue, and I'm just going to apply that right on the center. And then I'm just going to take my finger and kind of press that into the lips. I'm going back in with the pencil to just make sure the outside of the lips are still defined. Okay, so I'm going to go grab a product that is just going to kind of help smooth and blur out the center of my face, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I just really want the center of the face to look airbrushed. So I'm just going to take this and kind of apply it in just the T-zone and a little under the eye as well. I'm going to take my sponge and just press over everything one more time. I'm going to touch up the brows just by brushing through them, and then I'm going to fill in any areas that need to be refilled. I think that they're actually fine. I'm just going to take a little bronzer and drag that down my neck to make sure everything matches. Other than that, I feel like I'm happy with the intensity of the blush, I'm happy with the highlight, so we're just going to set the makeup. I want to do something that's going to keep my skin looking dewy, so I'm going to use the 4-3 Beauty Glisten Up Mist. Now this one kind of spits at me, so I have to spray it from far away. Woo! But it never really ruins my makeup, even though it does spit a little. I have to just be patient with it and let it really dry. So I'm just letting it kind of dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with my sponge and just make sure the setting spray sinks into the complexion. I am going to go back in with what's left on the powder brush and just make sure that my T-zone isn't too dewy. And then I'm going to set the brows with my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. All right, I'm just going to take my hair down. All right, you guys, so that completes this makeup look. I actually love how it turned out. I feel like it's still very festive. Honestly, I feel like you could wear this look any time of the year, but especially around the holidays, I feel like it's a different take on a holiday vibe, and especially if like your nails are holiday-y and your outfit is too. I mean, I have gold nails right here just so that I match with the videos that I'm gonna film, but I feel like red nails especially paired with this look would be so fun and pretty. I feel like like green is so much more wearable than you think it is. I used to never ever reach for greens, and I was so glad that I stumbled across that gorgeous look on Instagram because it made me want to reach for a green shadow again. So I hope you guys enjoyed the look. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. I would love to know what kind of a makeup look you are most inspired by or planning to wear when it comes to the holidays. So be sure to leave that in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.